July 9th, 2012, Monday. Jillian was relaxing and reading in her hammock just east of Sao Paulo, Brazil. She called it hers because she was in it so often. From here on the back terrace of her parents' mansion, she had the view of the ocean, the shade of a tree, a warm breeze, cold fresh juice, and the latest chapter of the book her father was writing. Jillian thought she might like to be a famous author like her father, and getting to see how he worked and reading the various drafts of his work were great inspiration. Inspiration and creativity are two words that were big in her world. Father was the author and mother was the artist. There was always some type of personal expression or soul-searching going on in the house. There were also a lot of secrets. Her mother was not just a great artist, she was also an illusionist. Not the kind of illusionist that hid rabbits in hats, the kind of illusionist that could actually project their thoughts into reality. The thoughts were not solid, but her mother had a photographic memory and could then transpose the things she thought of into canvas paintings or marble sculpture. Jillian's father had different secrets. He had powers also. He could read minds, make people hear his thoughts, and even take control of another's mind. His publisher always said he had a gift for getting into his reader's head and making them follow whatever roller coaster of emotion he designed. Maybe it was an unfair advantage, but his novels were always bestsellers. Secrets didn't stop with the parents either. Jillian, being a product of the two, had it all and more. Her parents' mental powers combined within her and multiplied each other, even growing into new areas of her mind. But Jillian wasn't thinking about that. She was listening to the cook's thoughts and what he had just prepared for lunch. Fresh catch broiled with lemon and fruit salad. She heard the cook thinking about coming to the back terrace and letting her know that lunch was ready. Jillian imagined being in her room and instantly she teleported there. Jillian heard her father's thoughts. "Are you coming down for lunch?" "Just getting changed first," she thought back. Then she turned her attention to herself as she stepped in front of a full-length mirror. Jillian made her clothes disappear like they never existed. Then she thought for a moment. New clothes made up of only illusion were now on her body. Her head moved side to side as she looked into the mirror and started to change the color and cut of her clothes until she was wearing a light fabric dress that was appropriate for a 14-year-old girl to wear. The colors she chose were vibrant and bold. Jillian's exotic looks went well with her long black hair and brown eyes, a gift from an attractive Brazilian mother and a handsome Spanish father. Now she wanted to accessorize the dress while she was at it. After some thought, she settled on a single satin ribbon in her hair and an ornate gold necklace. Once she was satisfied, Jillian concentrated hard and the illusions on her became real. If only I could make a car that way, she thought to herself. "What kind of car?" her father thought back to her loudly. "The kind of car that will drive you to lunch?" "Coming, Daddy," she thought back. Jillian was a daddy's girl, not just because her dad was cool and spent much of his time at home, but because they communicated well. Everyone else, including Mother, was an open book. If they thought something, she heard it. Conversation seemed like it had all the wind taken out of its sail, with the exception of Jillian's father, the famous Mr. Zavaleta, who was like her. When either of them didn't want the other to hear their thoughts, they could use another power called mental shield. With the mental shield on, the other couldn't hear their thoughts. Mr. Zavaleta taught her how to use this power when she was very young. When she was little, her father would always shop for birthday presents and then not tell her mother, so they could stay secret. Jillian's power had impressively grown these last few years, but to override her father's mental shield would be the equivalent of breaking open the locked door of his mind. If anyone with psionic powers did that to another psionic, they would surely be detected. Her father always treated her with respect and never did it to her, and she never tried doing that to anyone. Jillian strolled barefoot down to the patio by the pool where lunch was served. "Mom still at the gallery?" she asked. "Yes. In fact, I think she's having a bedroom added so she doesn't have to drive home," her father said. "Mom didn't drive home last night. She called and said she was too tired to drive and could I pop over and pop her back. If she's not home by now, I'll have to do the same thing so she can come home and get ready for her showing tonight. Sometimes I think your mother works too hard. Then I remember that this only happens twice a year." He then stared off in the distance, chewing his food. Turning to his daughter, he said, "Your mother says she will call you on your mobile in about 20 minutes so you can jaunt her home for a quick change. She says she's really pleased with the exhibit and can we please wear some kind of dark formal wear tonight?" Jillian giggled. No mobile phone could compete with telepathy, and no car was as quick as teleportation. The downside of being a telepath was all the junk and rotten thoughts that you hear. Sometimes she just felt sorry for how terrible some people's lives must be like. She thought her life was the best anyone could have, especially because her mother and father nurtured and encouraged her from the day she was born, literally the day she was born. Jillian wasn't able to remember, but her father told her the stories. Her father used telepathy to project soothing feelings, and her mother made illusionary mobiles above her crib.